This is Malaysia, located in one of the busiest sea trading routes that connects the east and the west. Aside from the strategic location, it is also blessed with rich natural resources. And some research suggested that Malaysia, when it was still part of the British colony, was the most profitable territory for the British Empire. Post-independence, what Malaysia has achieved is nothing short of impressive as well. Our country transformed itself from an initially agriculture and commodity-based economy to a robust manufacturing and industrialized nation. Honestly, apart from Singapore, no other Southeast Asian country come close to crossing the threshold to enter the developed countries club. The future looks bright until COVID pandemic. The global economy went into a lockdown and Malaysia was not spared. For a period of close to 2 years, Malaysian economy was at a standstill. Many businesses were not allowed to operate. Many had to close down their business, and needless to say, many Malaysians lost their jobs. Now today, the Malaysian economy has reopened and Malaysia is finding its way to get back on its feet again. There were many government initiatives that were rolled out, but I was just wondering to myself, how is the economy really doing? So I spoke to the guy who definitely knows more than me. Actually, what is the state of Malaysian economy right now?
So the economy is improving. The first quarter numbers showed a strong result, 5% growth in terms of GDP, and second quarter looks also strong, so we are confident that we will meet the government's GDP forecast of 5.3 to 6.3%, which is also in line with the other international agencies like IMF, World Bank. They all have a similar forecast for Malaysia, so we're quite upbeat about the growth for Malaysia this year.
What is the government actually doing to help people get employed?
Well, one of the key programs is called Jamin Kerja. Big allocation for this program, 4.8 billion ringgit. Target number of jobs for Malaysians, about 600,000 jobs. It's like a job guarantee program. We break it to two. One is a My Step program and one is reskilling and upskilling. So like the My Step program, the target is 80,000 jobs, 50,000 jobs with the government companies and 30,000 jobs with the GLCs. That's one example of the 600,000. So that's what we're trying to do. And the reskilling and upskilling is very important, where we work with all private sector, all the public sector as well, to ensure that we get our Malaysians ready for the right skill set for the jobs that are available today.
What about for employers like myself? Right? What are some of the incentives that government is doing to help people like us?
Well, there's a lot of incentives that we want to assist, especially like employers like yourself. One such support is where we give hiring incentive, where this actually allocation is also big for this one. It's 2 billion ringgit. We do it through SOCSO, where we actually pay employers incentive to hire people. So we target 300,000 new hires for employers, and what we do is we give incentive 20% of the worker's salary for the first 6 months and 30%. So first 20% and then 30% for the next 6 months. So this is for the salaries above 1,500 ringgit and above. So in total, actually, someone like you will get total incentive from government around 36,000 ringgit to hire people for you.
So you're saying that for me, when I hire people under these initiatives, I'm actually paying less money?
Yes.
And I get the people?
Yes, for the first 12 months. So because jobs are the lifeline of our economy, so it's important that we continue to create jobs, and we must assist both employers and in this case employees, and also in this case employers.
What are some of the initiatives that is prepared for people under the gig economy and also SME sectors?
We call it SIP gig, where we give incentive between 600 to 800 ringgit up to 6 months, right, for new gig employees, right? So what happened is, let's say you lost your job, right, and employees are forced to take unpaid leave. Like for example, right, you lost your job, it's easier, and so what we do is we will then assist and give you the money to start up on the gig side, but an additional 200 ringgit will be given to the gig worker if the salary is more than 2,500 or you work more than 120 hours. So these are kind of the initiative. So, but what's the objective? Really, the objective is to provide opportunities for the unemployed individuals, right, at that time, to perform short-term employment. So, and also encourages job seekers, because they also get the money. The job seekers, they get the money to take employment opportunities across informal employment or gig economy. So not just look at the formal employment sector, but also also brave themselves to go into gig economies.
Okay, so you heard him. GDP is growing, retail business is up, employment numbers are up as well. And based on recent reports, Malaysia economic growth smashed the forecast in Q2 of this year. Our GDP grew by 8.9%, outperforming all our peers in Southeast Asia. And not just that, as I was preparing for this video, I actually came across reports that say Malaysia has emerged as the most attractive country in Southeast Asia for foreign investors. Do you know that we attracted 41.7 billion in foreign direct investment, FDI? Again, we outperform almost every country in Southeast Asia. That's a very good news because FDI means foreign businesses are coming to set up their operations here. This will provide growth to our GDP and job opportunities for Malaysians. Okay, just like how Intel set up their manufacturing plant here in the 1970s, it helped to create more engineering jobs, it transferred skills and propelled a series of businesses in semiconductor industry, making Malaysia one of the leading electronic component manufacturer in the world today. So now we are at the beginning of our economic recovery journey, and all these are great news to Malaysians. We have started with a good footing post-pandemic, but the real challenge is actually ahead of us. For one, just like any developing nations, this GDP growth has to translate to higher income for the people. Okay, what do I mean by this? Let me give you an example. The Indonesian economy has been enjoying great growth in their GDP over the past few years as well. Because of that, more jobs were created for the locals. However, there's a problem. Many of these jobs created were low-value employment, such as drivers, street hawkers, low-skilled factory workers. Not many of those jobs created were high-paying ones. This because most of the industries there are operating on a business model that is dependent on low-cost workforce to generate profit. So at the end of the day, the growth in their GDP was not really translated to higher income for the people. The majority of Indonesians are still poor. So the big question is, moving forward, how can the Malaysian government help to facilitate the growth of household income for the people? There is a need to create more high-income job opportunities for Malaysian people. Only then this economic growth will be meaningful. Sure, it was great. In the past decade, Malaysia has experienced GDP growth, and this growth and industrialization has provided more job opportunities and helped many Malaysians to get out of poverty. But in this new decade, Malaysia needs to reach a higher income, and the only way forward is if these industries transform and move away from relying on low-cost manufacturing to highly innovative business operation, which will mean a higher income for our people. But to make this happen, our government and businesses have to work hand in hand. On one hand, businesses have to invest more into innovation, R&D, and upskilling our people. On the other hand, our government needs to implement structural reform that encourage these efforts, because the truth is, we have the right ingredient to make this nation into a high-income country. We are rich in resources and there's no lack of talent. Think of resources. We are one of the largest palm oil producer in the world, and palm oil is used as a raw material in almost everything. Maybe moving forward, instead of just exporting it, our government can set up policies that encourage manufacturers to build their plant here and their R&D facilities here as well. Having said that, recently I was even reading about this wonder material called graphite. It's said to be the strongest material on earth, and currently there's a bunch of research and innovation to explore its application in electronics, biomedical, energy, and all sorts of other industries. Think of it like the vibranium of Wakanda. Wakanda forever! And guess what? This material is made from dried oil palm kernel, which is in abundance in Malaysia. So this means we could potentially become the largest producer of graphite. This is super innovative stuff. I'm sure that with such an industry in Malaysia, it will lead to high-income employment opportunities for Malaysians. I believe if our government continuously roll out the right policies to facilitate such growth, we will surely cross the threshold to become a high-income nation. To give credit where it's due, alright? Our government did do a pretty good job in kickstarting the economy post-pandemic, despite the fact of all the dramas around it. But we are just at the beginning of this journey, and more needs to be done in the days to come. Therefore, when it comes to this, I hope whoever our future government is, they will work closely with industries to ensure that they invest in innovation and research to develop Malaysians and ensure that these business policies continue. And hopefully, as a result, such economic growth will truly translate into higher income for Malaysian households. I believe many of us are hopeful of this because this is our home, and I would like you to share with us in the comments what you think can be done to help Malaysia reach greater heights.